That's a question I continue to ask. It's a question we will ask now of our guest, Dr. Ben Carson, who is joining us by telephone. Dr. Carson, the author of the new book, One Nation, What We Can All Do to Save America's Future. Dr. Carson, also chairman of the Save Our Healthcare Project, co-founder and president of the Carson Scholars Fund. Dr. Carson, so good to have you back here on America's Forum.
Thank you. Always good to be with you.
Obviously, amnesty remains a concern, but the news this morning that the second Ebola patient in the United States has passed away, a doctor from Sierra Leone. Your thoughts on that news this morning, Dr. Carson?
Well, obviously a very sad story. This was a man who lived in Maryland with his family, Americanized, was doing humanitarian service and obviously contracted a horrible disease. I'm sure he was well versed in the preventative measures to take with Ebola, but he still got it. It helps us to understand that this is a very, very dangerous disease. Hopefully, bringing him here will not result in anybody else catching it.
Dr. Carson, let's return to politics and other public policy. I mentioned Governor Jindal being mentioned in connection with 2016. Obviously, your name continues to be mentioned as well. As we look at this proposed amnesty from President Obama, do you agree with Governor Jindal? Do you expect or would you support using the financial purse strings that the legislature has, perhaps resulting in a shutdown to keep the president from issuing this type of executive action?
Well, we certainly need to keep all possibilities open. I wouldn't rule anything out necessarily. Perhaps the first step might be maybe they could send the president some tutorials on how the government works. Perhaps he really never got an opportunity to find out those kinds of things, and also help him to understand that the government is supposed to respond to the needs of the people and conform to the will of the people, not to be a dictator. So that would be helpful. Now, in terms of what Congress can do, I don't think it has to be a full shutdown of the government. It can be selective. You remember during sequestration how the administration looked for the things that would be most painful to the public and tried to inflict those upon people to make the point that you can't take away any of the money. Well, two can play at that game, and Congress should look at those things that would be most detrimental specifically to the executive branch, but not to the general American populace. This is a game that can be played by multiple people.
Dr. Carson, the White House seems to be playing that game of political chicken with the new GOP government. Many there say this is not the way to go, including Republican Senator Mike Lee of Utah. Here's what he had to say on Face the Nation.
Exactly what we do may depend on what he does and when he does it, how he goes about it, and what his proposed basis for doing that is. It's difficult for us to know how best we should respond when we don't know what he's going to do yet. But we're standing ready, looking at the fact that it's important for us to defend the rule of law and to make sure that the institutional prerogative of Congress, which again belongs to neither party, it just belongs to the American people.
Dr. Carson, with only 20 seconds remaining, do you agree with the senator?
Yes, I think the senator is right on target there. And courage is what's needed, but also knowledge of what possibilities exist, what your weapons are, and they are multiple, and we need to study them carefully and use them judiciously.
Dr. Carson, obviously there are any number of topics in the news, and we need your perspective on, including the next phase of Obamacare. We've got that to talk to you about. Please stay with us, Dr. Carson, and you stay with us as well. Dr. Ben Carson on year 2, is that possible already, of Obamacare or re-enrollment? Stay with us. America's Forum continues here on Newsmax TV.